up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I have a nice challenge ahead of me, and that is what I am going to do for trail storage in the back of the buggy. So I can bring tools with me out on the trail, a cooler so I can have, drinks, lunch, snacks, and things for myself, wife, and the kids when we're out there, as well as carrying some basic fluids with me while I am out wheeling. Let me show you exactly what I'm working with so you guys can understand how I am gonna shove a rectangle into a square. So typically when I am out on the trail, this is what I would carry. I have a bag full of all my trail essential tools. I carried a quart crate and was able to just carry some fluids with me on the trail, as well as a cooler. So as you can see behind me, I have my template cut out. I kind of dabbed with a few different ideas, and this is the one that I ended up with. So anyway, that is my idea at the moment. Who knows, that may change, but for now, I'm gonna go with it and see how it goes. I have my aluminum sheet over here, so everything is all marked out and ready to go. Might be a little hard to see just with the bright lights, but pretty much same pattern that you saw, plus the two side cutouts. So I'm gonna get that cut out, and once I have that cut out, I will get the holes drilled in. I'll get the dimple dies pressed so that those are all done and ready to go. And then pretty much it'll be ready to weld, and for me to not F up, because if I do, I'm throwing a lot of money down the tube because it's aluminum and it's expensive. So yeah. If you guys are interested in how I'm making these dimple dies in this 1/8 aluminum sheet, I recommend you check out my last DIY video that I put out, which basically shows you the tool that I use and this process from start to finish as far as how to punch the dimple dies in this. It's a pretty simple, easy process. You could do it without the sort of conventional hydraulic press. But anyway, if you guys want to see how I did it, check out my last video. It's short and quick. It'll show you guys the ins and outs of it. So the base is done and it looks cool. I'll tell you what, for my first time messing around with dimple dies, really just, kind of not knowing how it was gonna turn out, I tested it out on a piece of aluminum first, but even with that said and all the sort of, dimples that I kind of put in on this piece here, it was a gamble. It was definitely a roll of the dice, and aluminum is not cheap, but I am really excited. So this is where I'm at so far. I have the base, I have the side, side is bent, dimple dyed, and then I have the back piece as well. So what I'm hoping to do now is to just line everything up, make sure that everything is perfect. I'm gonna probably have to shave a little bit on the sides of each of the pieces. I'm gonna get everything tack welded in, make sure it all looks good. And then we're gonna fire up and weld this bad boy, so let's do it. So, started to make some passes on this bad boy, and so far, for my first functional, aesthetically looking aluminum project, I am pretty happy with how things are turning out so far. It's not the best, but it's gonna work for exactly what this is gonna be. So let me show you where I am at. So basically, and I'm just letting this thing cool right now because it is pretty hot. I have started to do some welds in a bunch of different sections. There are a few areas, like for see on this side, when I kind of came to the edge, I was able to kind of stop. Things are nice and clean. When I came here, not so clean. I kind of melted through and it kind of used down, where you can kind of see on both sides. Not the end of the world, but just doesn't look awesome. So I might try to see if I can fill it in on the top, but I'm not going to play around with it too much, and it's just going to be a trail tool basket in the back anyway. So the idea is to get some practice, do some practical application stuff. I don't have a lot of experience with aluminum, so I should rephrase. This is my first aluminum project, period. So there you go. I'm happy. It's not too bad. Keep on keeping on, guys. So, aluminum tool basket is done. The only thing that is left to do with this is to actually mount it in here. But as far as any kind of fabrication with the basket, it's done, it's fully welded. I definitely learned a lot. You actually really have to let the aluminum warm up before you actually start welding to it a lot longer. So, you know, the saying, you know, that I've been hearing a lot of people use when they weld aluminum is chill and then fill. So you actually have to hold the torch, let that area warm up really, really good, and then you can kind of start dabbing. In certain areas, that practice actually worked out very, very well. And in other areas, you can actually see where I did not let it warm up long enough. So the beads are a little bit thicker in that area. And then obviously as everything warms up, everything kind of smooths out and gets a little bit more consistent. But all in all, for my first aluminum-based project, I am really, really stoked. Anyway, I will kind of give you guys the grand tour. So everything on the outside of the trail basket is fully welded. So all the bottom seams, the two side corner seams in the back. On the inside, I kind of just did some welds and all the main spots, including the corners and even in the front here. I did not decide to fully weld that all the way through just because I hit it really, really good on the outside. Maybe I'll change my mind and I'll fully weld it on the inside later on, but for now, I'm pretty happy with just doing some of those base welds. I will show you what I mean with, you know, kind of chill and fill. So this weld right here, it's actually pretty consistent, you know, where I, you know, kind of started. You know, you can kind of see that everything is pretty flush and pretty even. And then as I go all the way down, you know, it stays fairly consistent. Now, if you come over to the one next to it, you can see the same thing, but it's a little bit more raised. So what happened there is I did not let it warm up, and then I started welding a little too quickly, you know, and everything kind of came out a little bit more raised on this side. Not terrible, but from an aesthetic purpose, you know, it is definitely something that I noticed. And similarities like this, you can kind of see throughout the piece. You know, what I did is I tack welded everything in sort of sections. So on this front piece here, I think I put, you know, about 3 tacks, you know, and what I did is I would weld a piece, I'd weld a piece, and I'd weld a piece, and then I would come back later on when it cooled down and I would kind of fill those gaps, you know. So anyway, it's done. It's in the back. I can throw my tool bag in here. I can throw my cooler right on top of it, and I am good to go. So let's talk about weld settings and what I use personally to weld this piece. So as I said earlier on, this is 1/8 aluminum. For my settings that I used on my Everlast welder, I was using a 3 and 32-second tungsten rod, as well as 3 and 32-second aluminum filler rod. For this, I was set at about 120 amps with about 2 seconds of pre-flow and about 4 seconds of post-flow, just to kind of keep things, you know, nice and clean, making sure I was getting good gas coverage. I would probably say that as I was welding, I was probably using just about all of those 120 amps. You know, in the beginning, I was probably a little bit lighter on the pedal just to let things warm up. And then once things really started to warm up, then I was really throwing the amperage at it, and I was kind of just running my beads. As far as cup, I was using a Furic number 8 ceramic cup. I definitely like the Furic cups. I've been using them for all my mild stainless and aluminum welding, especially for the stainless and the mild steel. Some of the glass cups are pretty sweet, and I'm really looking forward to using some of the big size cups that they have once I get into the stainless exhaust on this bad boy. So as you guys can see, tool bag is in. I just have it centered at the moment. I haven't decided how, you know, I'm gonna do it, but there's some room on the side so I can put some like fluids and things like that. I could put some coolant in there. I could put some other bits over here and kind of keep everything, you know, secured, you know, using the dimple dies. I'm gonna do some kind of strap system. I haven't figured out exactly yet, but anyway, nothing is gonna go yard sailing if I go bouncing along. And then my soft cooler will pretty much just sit right on top of my tool bag like so, and then I can use the side hooks on the cooler to anchor it down in there. But anyway, guys, I am super stoked. This thing really came out well. It was definitely a challenge for me. I learned a lot during the process. You know, aluminum is just one of those things that it's just such a different, weird material to weld, especially if you're new to it like I am. It's just one of those things that needs to practice. And let's face it, welding is a perishable skill, and the amount of times that I actually get to weld aluminum, you know, functionally like this are very minimal. So when I practice, you know, it's one thing, you know, but then I'm trying to take all the things that I've practiced and bring it into a practical application. So a lot of it is kind of learning on the fly, you know, and then, you know, making small mistakes and then trying not to repeat those mistakes throughout the rest of the project. So anyway, guys, that's a wrap for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are enjoying sort of this journey and progress of the transformation that I kind of have going on in the buggy right now. I'm super stoked about this. If you guys found this video useful and you guys liked it, definitely be sure to smash that like button below. Definitely be sure to subscribe so you guys can stay in tune with all the stuff that I'm putting out. And as always, thanks for stopping by. God bless, and I'll catch you guys next time.